It is very easy to be overwhelmed when you're first starting out trying to learn a new language. And in this video, you're going to learn how to pick words and phrases to learn in the beginning without stress, no matter what language you're learning. Hey guys, lately I've been getting a lot of questions on how I pick words and phrases to learn with memorization software or flashcard apps. Also, questions like, did you try to learn all the forms of verbs at once? How did you handle learning all the nouns? Did you handle all the cases at once, including plurals? I think this really depends on what your goal is and how you learn best. How you approach learning a language with limited amount of time and trying to speak it. For example, like how I was learning German to speak with my father-in-law, Papa, on day 91 of my challenge for a 15-minute conversation. That's one kind of goal. Versus if you're trying to pass a language exam, for example. So depending on your goal, how you approach this is different. Number two, how you learn best. Some people love learning grammar first. Some people love learning through phrases. Some people like to listen to podcasts. Some people like to watch TV, read a book or something like that. So it really depends on what works best for you. So I think the most important thing to start off with is with the words and phrases that are most commonly used and simple, and then transition to the topics that you're interested in, the things that you want to say, if your goal is to speak the language as soon as possible. Now in my case, my goal is to speak German with Papa for 15 minutes on day 91. My focus was on the topics that I like to talk about and topics that Papa may like to talk about. And this is the reason why I like to use memorization software or flashcard app, because I can create decks depending on what's important to me, what's most useful for me, and I can also go at my same and the pace and the speed that I like. At the very beginning, I just started with very simple and commonly used words like Monday to Sunday, January to December, next month, next year, next week, last month, last week, time, numbers, all these simple commonly used things, and mixed with short phrases that I know I'll use. For example, wie man sagt love in Deutsch. How do you say love in Deutsch? Or I can substitute love with anything else, like how to say da in Deutsch. Wie viel kostet das? How much is this? Ich bin hungrig. I'm hungry. So that's how I started in the beginning. And I completely ignore grammar in this phase. That was my dog. Then I'll start to build phrases from the words that I learned previously and sprinkle in new words. For example, wie war der Sonnenuntergang gestern? Sonnenuntergang, sunset, was a new word for me. And instead of just saying how was the sunset, I add in how was the sunset yesterday. I learned yesterday before, right? So I'm going to add in these words that I know into these sentences. And that's how I built my phrases in the beginning when I first started. And eventually I got to the topics of what I want to talk about, and also my topics that what Papa likes to talk about. But that's how I build it one day at a time. And if you run out of phrases, you can always focus on the most common used word in the languages you're learning. So you may be asking, how about grammar, Brian? You need to learn grammar. The funny thing is, once I started building up vocabulary and phrases like this one day at a time, I was like using these short phrases here and there. I'm like, yes, yes. And I understood, when I heard something, I understood it. I was like, yes, yes, yes. So I was getting like a lot of small wins in the beginning, which was very important for me because I was building momentum and getting excited. Like, yes, I'm getting this. And that was very, very important. Eventually, at some point, I got interested in grammar, right? Because I want to know how to better construct sentences myself. So I think this will happen to people. And at the same time, it's not so dry anymore because I have some vocab and phrases in my vocab bank that I can draw from. So it's not so dry learning these structures and rules and things like that. So that's when I start to learn grammar. So to recap, here are some of the key points. Number one, Start small and simple, take it one day at a time, and build as you go. You want to get as many small wins as possible in the beginning. Number 2, focus on the most common used words and phrases in the language that you're learning. And number 3, learn topics on what interests you most. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how to learn grammar and practice grammar in a flashcard or a memorization software. It's going to be really cool. So stay tuned. What am I supposed to say? Commonly used. Oh. This is too distracting. If your goal is to speak the language as soon as possible. Oh, someone's having a hiccup.